Welcome back to another episode of Stand on Guard. I'm your host, David Krayden. Thank you so much for joining me today. And you can guess what that was all about. Yes, that was the sinking ship, the Trudeau ship. The rat's getting off, and you really think Mark Carney was going to get on board? When we come back,
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need political change, but we also need the resolve to resist.
yes, please like the show. Give it the thumbs up. Push the like button, please, as you've been doing in great numbers lately. I hate to ask, but you always have to. People say, don't forget to ask about the supporters. And of course, subscribe. We've been doing that. And we're trying to hit 40,000 by the end of the month, by New Year's Eve. Can we do it? With your help, we can. Share this broadcast with your friends and family, please. And we've got so much to talk about today. I wish I could have put all of this in one thumbnail, but of course, you can't. And it takes far too long. Before we go, though, have a look at...
Ho, 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 ho!
How do you like this?
Yes, thank you for indulging me for a few moments there. It's Christmas, less than a week away. Have a look at our store. I'm sure there's something in there. I love that cup. I really love that mug, free speech. That is the theme of 2025. Save free speech before Trudeau takes it away from you. And that is so important. You see how the Trudeau government has tried to split Bill C-63 into two components, pretending it's got anything to do with protecting women or children. This is just such utter rubbish. Trudeau government knows this. And of course, they'll always find some flunky out there who will come on camera with them and say, oh, yeah, it's all about protecting our kids. Whether they've been deceived about this or not, I don't know. But this bill is all about censorship. It's all it's got to do. We've already got laws in place to protect women and children from revenge porn and child porn. It's already there. This is such a smokescreen. Anyway, this show is not about Bill C-63, the Online Harms Act, but I never miss a chance to talk about it. Here's a story of what I think was late last night. Mark Carney not joining the Liberal government. Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc says. So it's like Dominic LeBlanc is now the Prime Minister. He's the de facto Prime Minister. Justin Trudeau is somewhere. I don't think he's left the country yet. He will be. We might have a cabinet shuffle today, but I don't think so. I think Trudeau was just planning to leave. This is how he faces all of his responsibilities. He just packs up, and leaves. That is how Justin Trudeau works. And I can see this, for some reason, this broadcast is really getting hit hard by YouTube today. Like I say, please, let's beat the censorship today, because this is something they don't want us to talk about. So Mark Carney never had any intention of joining Trudeau in any capacity, certainly not as finance minister. If Trudeau told Chrystia Freeland last Friday, which is almost a week ago now, that she was fired and Mark Carney was going to be the new finance minister, either Trudeau was delusional in believing that, or he flat out lied. Now, both could be true. When you're dealing with someone like Justin Trudeau, he can be lying and delusional at the same time. This is what makes the man so incredibly frightening. He really isn't capable right now of speaking for any government. He has no government. He's got like 5 ministerial portfolios vacant. He's got people like LeBlanc doing 3 jobs, not very well, but still technically doing 3 jobs. He's got Anita Anand doing 2 or 3. And this is all because of his reckless management. He doesn't have leadership. And I really would call him a poor manager too. But he's probably the weakest prime minister in history. So let's have a listen to what Jagmeet Singh is saying here. Now, of course, Peter Julian, the NDP House leader, admitted that there could be a spring election as soon as March comes around, meaning as soon as Jagmeet gets his pension, then he's free to vote in a non-confidence motion against Trudeau. Not until then, though. But things will be okay by March. They actually admitted this. I played this clip the other day. I'm not going to show it again. It's enough to make you retch. But here is a so-called leader of an opposition party that's not really an opposition party. This is the Jagmeet Singh party. Let's collect my pension and get out of here. It's incredible. This guy is going to absolutely submerge his party in the next election. I don't even think this joker can win his seat again. He is such a clown. And to listen to him when he tries to pretend he doesn't know what we're talking about, that this isn't about my pension. No, it's about keeping all options on the table. And now he's saying he wants a trade war, just like Justin Trudeau wants a trade war. Let's have a listen
Explain to Canadians that while you say you want him out, that he's not good for Canada, but you won't act on that and commit to a vote of non-confidence.
Well, everything's on the table, we've said, but it's been clear, given that we've got the threats of tariffs from Trump, that puts a lot of workers in Canada saying, will I lose my job? We know that people are having a really hard time buying groceries, just the basic essentials.
Sure.
And we got people that are saying, I can't find a home, my bills are up. Given all of that, we've got a prime minister that's more focused on fighting his own party than...
You know, this guy hasn't bought his own groceries in a long time. He always goes back to that talking point. There's people out there who can't afford to buy their own groceries.
Fighting for Canadians. It's clear that he's got to go.
Right. But you're the one who can make that happen. So why?
Now, this journalist here asks him 4 times during his interview, you're the one who can do it. Why aren't you doing it? And Jagmeet, of course, the coward he is, can't even answer that question.
Why not commit to a vote that would see an election in this country?
Well, I've said that everything's on the table. So all options are on the table. What I'm focused on right now is saying he's got to go. And we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks.
You know, you're talking about Canadians being concerned about affordability, but the most recent polls show that most of them want an election. So if you have the power to make that happen for Canadians, and you're acting in the best interest of Canadians, isn't that what they actually want?
Well, there's going to be an election this year, 2025.
Sure,
next
but
year.
October is the scheduled date. That's a long way off.
It could happen any time in 2025. We're in a minority government, so we'll keep all options open.
Look at this idiot. Keeps saying it could happen in 2025. We'll keep all options open. Yeah, and he keeps saying there's going to be an election in 2025. Yeah, I can guarantee you that. Well, yes, thank you very much, clown. But this guy can't be honest for a moment.
But let's be clear, there's going to be an election in 2025. Absolutely guaranteed there will be an election. And people will have a tough choice to make. And I just wanted to say to folks out there who are worried about Pierre Poilievre and Conservatives, worried about the cuts, worried that he's going to cut their childcare, their pensions, healthcare, make things way more expensive. For those folks,
nobody's worried about that. They're worried about a clown like you holding up the dissolution of this ungodly parliament that needs to go. This Trudeau needs to go. You keep saying, oh, he needs to go, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Don't ask me to exercise any political responsibility.
Folks, I want to invite you. We have shown that when we come together, when we organize, when we fight, we can win. So I want to invite people to join us, the NDP.
You know, you've talked about the Conservatives and what they can do, but they are 20 points ahead. You and the Liberals are sitting further back from that. So wouldn't it say to me that what Canadians want is a chance to elect a new government? And you can make that happen. Listen, Peter Julian told CBC News that this could happen in the spring. But why wait? What are you waiting for?
Well, I'm not going to speculate on when it's going to happen. What I am committing to is that in this election, I want folks to know they have a real choice. Even though I know it's a big mountain to climb.
An election before they can make a choice.
There will be an election. There's going to be an election in 2025. But what people have to know is that if things are bad now, things will be even worse under Pierre Poilievre. And I want to make sure people know the cost. And I don't think people know the cost. Like, he's going to cut childcare. That could be $8,000 more a year for families. He wants to cut the child benefit. That's $600 a month that he wants to cut. He wants to cut pensions like Harper did. Pensions for seniors who are already struggling, who already tell me they can't afford their groceries.
He can't miss doing his political advert here in the middle of an interview. And it's just pathetic. This is a moral coward, political coward who can't even put together a sentence that makes sense apart from his talking points, which he repeats ad nauseum. I really have no time at all for this man as anything. I will be so happy to see him gone in the next parliament because he just is a waste of space. He's just taking up space and is absolutely committed to nothing but himself.
How are they going to make it by if their pensions are cut? When people are confronted with this, say, you know what? I don't want to vote for a guy who's going to cut my pensions. I'd actually think about that. I don't want to vote for a guy who's going to cut health care at a time when I can barely get the care I need right now.
But why won't you commit to voting non-confidence?
There's going to be an election this year.
I know there's going to be an election. Canadians know it's coming in October. It could be sooner in the spring, but you're the one who can make that happen. So why not commit to making it happen?
It's going to happen. There's nothing to, we don't have to commit to anything. It's going to happen.
Why not make it happen?
What a fool. This is just parading his lack of intelligence on the screen. I have never seen anybody so inept at answering questions. We all know that. You half-wit. Yes, there's going to be an election in 2025. You will apparently have nothing to do with it, at least until you get your pension.
Sooner. So they come back on the 27th, a week after Trump is in office. The tariffs could be in place by January 21st. Don't Canadians deserve the right to choose a different government sooner rather than later?
Well, I'm going to look at what's in the best interest of Canadians. If there's a vote on the table about retaliatory tariffs to fight back against Trump versus...
Here it is. Everybody hear that? This is really the news of this. Maybe I should have played this first and then my numbers wouldn't be so low today. But this is what Jagmeet Singh wants, a trade war. He just said that. He wants a trade war with Donald Trump. And there he is again, in Justin Trudeau's pocket. What have I been saying all week about Justin Trudeau? Using Doug Ford as his useful idiot, trying to foment a trade war with Donald Trump, trying to keep the friction going because that's the only solution for Justin Trudeau. That's the only way he thinks he can stay in power. That's the only way he thinks he can retain the levers if he starts a trade war with Donald Trump and makes it into a nationalistic issue. We have to protect ourselves from Donald Trump. Jagmeet Singh is still in Justin Trudeau's pocket. No question about it. He's always been in Justin Trudeau's pocket, even though he likes to go do little videos where he's ripping up agreements. The man is a complete fake. He is a complete and total fraudster. So don't, and I know the viewers here are intelligent enough to know you can't trust this man to speak a microcosm of truth. But here he goes.
Calling an election in the midst of threats to hundreds of thousands of jobs. I want to make a decision that's in the best interest of Canadians. I'm not going to speculate on what
his decision is not in the best interest of Canadians. It's in the best interest of Jagmeet Singh. Why is this guy so incompetent? He needs a government pension. He's already independently wealthy. His family's wealthy. He's made a lot of money as a lawyer, but he needs that pension so much. He's prepared to keep the Liberal government on life support to do so, to get it.
That decision is now. But I can tell you what I am saying right now. Trump is a real threat. People are worried about their jobs. Trudeau has to go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to speculate about what's going to happen months from now. When that happens, I'll make a decision.
But it's not speculation because you're the one who can tip the power in a non-confidence vote.
Well, speculation about what's in the best interest of Canadians. 2 months from now.
They're saying an election is in our best interest.
But we don't know what's going to happen a month from now. We don't know what we're confronted with. What I can say right now is there's going to be an election in 2025. That is guaranteed. And in that election, I'm fighting and running to become prime minister.
Yeah. Incredible. You can't make this up, people. You can't make it up. Any political leader could be this much of a coward, this incapable of telling the truth. Now, I've saved some good stuff here. You remember Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank? I actually did a lot of work with Kevin O'Leary when he was running for the leadership of the Conservative Party. Seems like a long time ago. I thought he was maybe a good option at the time. There's a lot of good things about Kevin O'Leary, but he really couldn't decide what he wanted to do, and he dropped out of the race. I did a number of interviews with him for the Daily Caller, where I was working at the time. Went to a lot of his campaign events. But he's right about Trudeau. And he's been saying this now for 9 years. And he's been saying this from the United States. So his comments here are quite interesting.
Well, there's lots of talk about including the fallout of Freeland's departure and the future of U.S.-Canada trade. So I want to bring in someone who's no stranger to trade on both sides of the border. Kevin O'Leary is chairman of the O'Leary Ventures. He joins us now from Tucson, Arizona. Kevin, welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let's start with your take here. You've been a vocal critic of Justin Trudeau as a Canadian entrepreneur. What do you make of the fallout here over the departure of Chrystia Freeland?
First of all, Freeland is the worst finance minister Canada's ever had because she's never run a financial institution. She started as a journalist. I'm sure she's a nice person, but that budget she just delivered gives you an idea of how incompetent she is. It's good she's gone, but she's not the real problem. It's Trudeau. I don't know if you've looked at any number you'd like to measure in the last 9 years. GDP per capita, capital flows out of Canada, the growth of the Canadian economy stalled out, the deficit, just this last horrific budget. I mean, I don't recall in my professional life seeing a collapse like this. That's why the Canadian dollar is in free fall. It's Justin Trudeau and his policies. And remember, we have to celebrate the fact, if you want to talk about longevity, he's been very successful as a prime minister, and he did it all without any executional skills. Now, the Canadian people pay the price, and it's just horrific what's happening to the country. Unbelievable mess.
Okay, it's embattled at home, mocked abroad. Kevin, Trudeau and Canada now becoming the target of U.S. President Donald Trump's roasts here. How does Canada manage this relationship with what is an unpredictable U.S. leader?
Well, let's talk about why this is happening to Trudeau and why he is embarrassing Canada so much. As you recall, in Trump's first mandate, both Freeland and Trudeau bashed Trump almost every day they could, thinking he would never come into power. He is a relationship guy. He doesn't respect or like Trudeau. He's said so much in the last 2 or 3 days, as well as Freeland, who he despises from NAFTA 2 negotiations. She's gone. He would love to get rid of Trump, and I think he's doing a good job embarrassing every Canadian internationally with what he's doing with all of this social media. And Trump realizes that he won't be negotiating NAFTA 3 with Trudeau. Trudeau's going to be gone one way or another, and that's a very good thing for Canada. Canadians want to see their dollar in free fall. How long?
Not my glitch.
How long do they want to lose the value of their passport and the Canadian brand in places like Egypt, India, and China, where they don't even let us in anymore without a visa? Trudeau has done unbelievable damage to Canada over the last 9 years. Every Canadian has almost a moral obligation, regardless of where they come from or what their religion is or what party they're associated with, to get rid of this man. He is damaging the country, and I can't wait personally. I do everything I can every day. I broadcast all over the world talking about how weak he is as a leader and how important it is he must go. I'm doing my part. Every Canadian should ask themselves, what are we doing to get rid of this guy?
What are we doing to get rid of this guy? What is Jagmeet Singh doing to get rid of this guy? Love that. Love that comment. I think that could have been the lead this morning. We just had so much material, and maybe I started with the wrong lead. I don't know, because I see YouTube is destroying me today, but that's life with YouTube, isn't it? Thank you for liking this broadcast. Thank you for supporting this broadcast. Really appreciate it, because I'm surging through regardless. You can just see the numbers ticking up, and then they go tick down because YouTube is suppressing this, playing games with me again. But this is the age of censorship. Now, I want to turn to the U.S. here, because this has incredible relevance for Canada.
Ladies and gentlemen, something incredible just happened. A literal Christmas miracle.
Now, this is my old friend Benny Johnson. We worked at the Daily Caller together. Benny gets like 1,000 times more views an hour than I get in a month. But he's his very, very successful show. I don't mind, pitching it once in a while because he does a lot of good work. And I find him a little bit sycophantic about Donald Trump at times. But he's dead on about Mike Johnson, the House Speaker here. Just if you're not aware of this, Mike Johnson, the Republican House Speaker, tried to push through a spending bill at Christmas, just like the Liberals did in Canada. It's the same thing. Let's push this through. Oh, we got to pass it. We got to go home for Christmas. Too late to do it, to change it. And listen to what happened here. Does this have any relevance for Canada? You bet it does. And I'll explain why I think it's relevant for Canada in a minute. But this is a fascinating story.
Let me explain. Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, wrote a bill that should cost him his speakership. This is the bill. It includes gain-of-function research. That's how he got COVID. Mask and vaccine mandates. Biolabs. Massive congressional pay raises, $60 billion more for Ukraine, a DC sports stadium, Congress blocking subpoenas for their data so no one can get any access to what is actually going on in Congress, corrupt emergency powers, legal process quashing, meaning you can't sue members of Congress, expansion of government censorship censors, which is insane, molasses inspection funding, woke term changes like offender to justice-involved individual. So this is from a Republican Speaker of the House. Transparency in concert ticket pricing. Elimination of the word homeless. Allowing lawmakers to opt out of Obamacare. Oh, yeah. And a feral swine eradication program. This is not what the American people voted for. And ladies and gentlemen, something incredible happened. We just killed this bill. For the first time in my life, there was enough pressure created by powerful individuals like Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk to bear down upon these lawmakers to threaten their seats and threaten their power and threaten the one thing that they will refuse to give up. They'll die in office if they can. They will never give up their seat. They will never give up power. These people will never resign. It's the only thing that they care about is their little pin, their little badge, their little power in life. And we actually killed this bill. I cannot believe it. Here we go. This 1,500-page bill, $110 billion worth of spending, masquerading as a continuing resolution. Ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk stated this: the bill must die, and any member of the House or Senate who votes for this outrageous spending bill deserves to be voted out in 2 years. Matt Gaetz saying, Elon is not effing around. He's fully engaged, funding massive effort.
Now, does this remind you of anything in Canada? Yeah, the fall economic statement. $62 billion out the door. And it's all for great stuff. Of course, nobody even bothers to find out what it's for. They've actually dissected this bill to find out there's a pay raise in this bill for congressmen, for representatives. $70,000 pay raise. That's more than a lot of Americans make in a year. This is what they're getting in a pay raise. This is astounding.
This is not an empty threat. Well, this was pretty scary. Stop the steal of your tax dollars, says Elon Musk, the Doge, saying effectively that this is a massive, pork, gluttonous bill. A continuing resolution, by the way, is just to continue federal spending. Now, that alone is bad enough. But this packed in $110 billion more federal spending. And they're doing this. Speaker Mike Johnson is doing this in order to pay off the swamp. I mean,
and there's the pay raise there, going from $174,000 to $243,000 per year for representatives in the House. That is astounding.
Literally behaving exactly like Nancy Pelosi would. They pack this stuff in and they pass these bills right before Christmas to say, well, you want to get home for Christmas, right? But he's using a CR to do it, which is different than using an actual spending bill. That's big. The big spending bill comes in March when the fiscal year starts for Congress, 2025. That's normally when you have these fights, but he's actually using this opportunity before Trump takes power to get the final goodies for swamp friends. This really should cost Mike Johnson his speakership.
About to pass a bill that blows away your taxpayer money, but they made it over 1,500 pages long so you wouldn't read it. I did you a favor. I read it for you.
It's supposed to be about keeping government operations open and providing disaster relief aid to hurricane victims, which I'm sympathetic to. But if you read the bill carefully, it contains pay raises for members of Congress, and I'm not making this up, an expansion of their federal health benefits. It contains all kinds of special interests and pork funding, including opening up a new stadium in Washington, D.C. It renews the Global Engagement Center, which is a key node of the censorship industrial complex. And the worst part is, they didn't want you to know about any of it, and that's why they made this a last-minute jam job. The reason I'm co-heading DOGE is I think we need outsiders to bring actual accountability to Washington, D.C. So feel free to call your congressman and let him know how you feel about it.
Yeah. Now, can this happen in Canada? You bet. Happens every year. Will conservatives be this bad? Could be. And this is why I say every week, our job is not to be sycophants for the conservatives. Support them at every opportunity. Yeah, we need a conservative government, but do not sit there and say whatever they do is good with me, because I'm a member of the party and I will say whatever I'm told to say. Now, Pierre Poilievre, would he be capable of doing this? Well, Mike Johnson, when he came in as Speaker of the House, was lauded by MAGA Republicans as being one of theirs. This is a good guy. This is a principled man. This is somebody who is going to do the right thing. Principled, conservative, real Republican, not a rhino. And of course, he's disappointed time after time after time, because once they get the office, once they get the power, they tend to want to negotiate with the swamp. We have a swamp in Ottawa. You bet. We have a deep state in Ottawa. You bet we do. Will it be an influencer on the next conservative government? You bet. We have to keep pushing the conservative government, to do the principled conservative thing, to do the right thing. Because if you don't keep pushing, do you think the CBC will, if they're still around? Do you think the mainstream media will? Do you think they'll push Pierre Poilievre and the conservatives to be principled conservative? No, they won't. They'll push them in the opposite direction if they're still around. And this is why we have to keep pushing from the right against conservatives, because they do tend to let us down, just like Speaker Mike Johnson has let down the Republicans. Now, this is the result here is because Elon Musk went on X and exposed this bill. He exposed it. And Donald Trump has come out against this bill, and now the whole thing is unraveling. But here's a indication. I find this very chilling. This is something Pierre Poilievre said yesterday, which I find very, very disturbing.
Instead, you're letting them sit there as cannon fodder, which these warmongers like to do, of course. So we're getting dangerously close to a war with Iran right now. The legacy media, the neocons in Washington are fast-tracking this before President Trump takes office, trying to do Israel's bidding once again. As we warned you for months, this, of course, was the plan all along. You'd have to be a moron not to have seen this coming. And now, overnight, the IDF sees chances for strikes on Iran's nuke sites after knocking out Syrian air defenses. And, the IDF is now doubling down on this position. So these are soft targets now. We better move into Iran now that Syria is out of the picture. So the CIA took Syria off the table, and the Times of Israel reports that the IDF is ready to start bombing Iran, of course. And now Canadian warmongers, like this is spread internationally now among this warmongering cabal, are getting ready to push us towards a war with Iran. Pierre Poilievre, I guess you could call him a neoconservative in Canada, because the guy openly supports additional weapons and munition and money, of course, to Ukraine, the most corrupt government in Europe, is now saying, absolutely, we should double down. And he wants to bomb Iran's nuclear facilities. Like this would be a big Christmas gift, or I guess a big Hanukkah gift to Israel. Like we're going to bomb Iran's nuclear facilities. Listen to him.
Stations Yesterday, you said that you endorse Israel proactively defending itself by hitting Iran's nuclear sites, which is something that President Joe Biden does not endorse. Do you not feel like this could lead to a likelihood of an all-out conventional war between Iran and Israel? And do you not agree with Joe Biden and his assessment?
I think the idea of allowing a genocidal, theocratic, unstable dictatorship that is desperate to avoid being overthrown by its own people to develop nuclear weapons is about the most dangerous and irresponsible thing that the world could ever allow. And if Israel were to stop that genocidal, theocratic, unstable government from acquiring nuclear weapons, it would be a gift by the Jewish state to humanity.
What?
Yeah,
He's talking about the Ayatollah?
Yeah. Yeah, he's talking about Iran.
I thought he was talking about Israel in the beginning.
Well, that's the joke. But of course, Israel is looking like that theocratic state that its own people want to. Its own people want to remove the government because its government is destroying Israel. And Israel has nuclear weapons. What if somebody said, hey, we should bomb Israel because they have nuclear weapons? We don't even know for certain if Iran is anywhere near producing nuclear weapons. That information and that intelligence is based on the CIA intelligence gathering. They have been so effective, haven't they, in intelligence gathering in other areas. These are the same idiots who thought the Taliban didn't have a hope in hell of taking Kabul in 2021. These are the same idiots who somehow couldn't see the war in Gaza beginning because their intelligence was so poor. So it's very irresponsible for anybody to say we should be bombing Iran and starting a war in the Middle East when we're on the verge of a nuclear war in Ukraine. So I always say I'm not going to support irresponsibility and statements like that. They need to be challenged and they need to be addressed because we're not here to tell you what the talking points of the CPC are or the talking points of any political party. I'm here to fight for free speech, and I'm here to fight for honesty in government. I'm here to fight for principled conservatism and responsible foreign policy. And that's what we need to keep doing. We need to keep resolving to resist the nonsense wherever it comes from in Ottawa, the rubbish wherever it comes from, because that is what it means to be a free citizen in a country that is still democratic. But we need to keep fighting to make it so. Gone over time today. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing the 8:30 time. It worked great yesterday. Seemed to bomb today. I don't know if it's what's going on with the numbers today. Let me know in the comments section if you really think we should go back to 10, which I can do. I couldn't do it the last couple of days here because of other commitments. But I'm quite willing to go back to 10 o'clock if that's something everybody out there thinks is a good idea. And thank you for watching today. I really appreciate your support. I know some people are going to hate me for even being critical of Pierre. He's going to be the next prime minister. That's a good thing. We need Trudeau out. We need a conservative government. It's going to happen. But at the same time, we cannot excuse everything that conservative government in waiting has to say. We have to retain our freedom of thought in the process. Thanks for watching today. I'll be back again tomorrow with all the news you need to know so we can all continue to resolve to resist.